What's up, everyone? This is Christian Duke. You're watching Strength Addicts on Instagram Live, brought to you courtesy of BlackstoneLabs.com, the holy grail of bodybuilding supplements. If you're looking to get involved in the fitness industry, there is no better way to do so than by applying to join the Blackstone Labs Legion. Who knows? You might be the next Flex Diesel. Also, guys, big thank you to our supporting sponsor, TitanMedicalCenter.com, for all your TRT, medical weight loss, glutathione, and so much more. Check them out today. So this evening, I'm very excited to have Rob Simpson in the house, Men's Physique Pro, member of the Blackstone Labs Legion. We're going to talk about competing as a pro, life in the Legion, and so much more. So we're going to bring him on here, and I sure appreciate it. There was a little bit of a mix-up in times, Eastern time versus other time zones, but I do appreciate it. What's up, Rob? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm sorry. I know that I put 6 p.m. Eastern time, but I take it you're in a different time zone.
Yeah, I'm out in Cali, but, that's no excuse because I'm from back east. So I should have picked up on it, and I didn't. But when you sent me the little post thing, I was like, oh, are you kidding me?
That's crazy. These East Coast people, yeah. So there's so much I want to talk about. Looking at your Instagram, I've seen so much different content, a lot of stuff that I think is for the guys 40 and over, 50 and over. And as somebody that's covered multiple teen collegiate masters nationals, I've seen some competitors that, they get their pro card, but that's not enough. They want to beat the guys that are 5, 10, 15 years your junior, and they just wipe the floor with them. So it really, truly, age is just a number. But in your division, though, particularly men's physique, being ultra competitive, what's that like?
Well, it's challenging to say the least. I mean, it's for one, it's really hard to find a lot of masters shows. So if you want to compete, you really don't have any other choice but to compete against the younger guys. So, and that's challenging because you're going up against, I go up against guys 30 years younger than me. And, realistically, you're not going to necessarily beat them. You can compete with them, but that's why I take it as a personal challenge more. I just enjoy competing. I enjoy the camaraderie with the other guys. I just put my best effort on stage, and I don't care about the results. If the results are cool, hey, that's awesome. But to me, it's more the journey. I wish there were more master shows. We did the Legions last year, which was the Masters Championship out here in Reno, and that was just heaven. You had a bunch of adults all competing together, kind of same frame of mind, same perspective on life. And it's just really cool to see because, you get guys in the younger ages, in their 20s and 30s, and nothing against them. Their physiques are phenomenal. But as you get up in age, that group gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So when you get a good bunch of guys together that are top-notch, top amongst the nation competing, you're in a very, very select elite group of guys that are still competing. I mean, I'm 58 years old. I could be a dad to most of the people I compete against. And, I don't look at it as an issue. I just look at it as a blessing.
Absolutely.
I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. I've thought about, retiring and as retiring, but as long as I still have that fire to keep challenging myself, because that's what it is. I don't go into a show more than improving on my physique from the last show. I won't do consecutive shows anymore just because for me, there's really not a point behind it. Each show has to represent me changing something, moving forward with my physique.
Absolutely. So, and I want to thank everybody that's here. Kim Fidas Haynes is here, and Art says it is a blessing to compete. It is a blessing to do what you love, and we've got some pros that joined in here at the very beginning. But I got to say, Rob, though, I mean, how long have you been competing? When did you get started? And talk about the evolution, the progression to getting your Ivy Pro League Pro card.
All right. Well, I started back in 2011. I was just working out. I've always been kind of a gym rat. And a couple of guys there were like, hey, man, we're going to compete. You should come do it with us. And I didn't know anything, like literally nothing about the bodybuilding world other than muscle fitness when I grew up. And I was like, I don't know, man. I might not feel comfortable wearing that little thing on stage. And they were like, oh, it's board shorts. I'm like, what? So I was like, let's give it a shot. So I had no idea what I was doing. Kind of just talked to people in the gym, did my first show. I won. And then I was like, oh, hey, at the time I was like 48 years old. And I was like, wow, okay, this is kind of cool. So then there was a show in San Diego the following week. And I was like, I'm going to go do that show. And I went to the show and I won. And then it was like, oh, and then I heard about Masters in Pittsburgh and North Americans. Then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try to get my pro card. So then I go to Masters in Pittsburgh, and I got handed to me. I had no idea the level that I was even, dealing with. Here I am. I'm the gym dude, and I thought I was everything. And I went to the Nationals, and I just got, in my opinion, smashed. I got 7th place. And
That's not a bad placing, Rob, at all. But you're right. Pittsburgh is. I mean, that's like taking it to another level in terms of the Masters competitions.
Exactly. So, but for me, I was going in there to clean. I was going to clean it up. That was my mentality anyway. Mm-hmm. So I learned. Right. I learned. And then I kept trying to compete, do it on my own, try to figure things out on my own. And it wasn't until I think it was a good 10 months later, I hooked up with, this was when Jeremy Buendia was just starting out, and he was doing some shows by me, and I walked up to him because he was a part of a team called Fit Body Fusion. And I was like, hey, man, I want you to train me. And so we hooked up, and we ended up doing 3 national shows together, Masters, the North Americans, and then the following year we did Masters again. And it was an interesting situation because now it's 2014, and I got married in 2014. My wife and I went to Hawaii and for our honeymoon. And I came back, and I looked like this bloated Samoan. And this was about like 4 weeks out from Masters Nationals. And so I sent Jeremy pictures, and I'm like, hey, man, I want to go to the show. I want to get my pro card. And do you think it's possible? And he goes, well, yeah, you can bust your butt. So I put in the work. 3 weeks later, we went to Pittsburgh, and I got my pro card.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what a coach to have, too. I mean, Jeremy Buendia, I mean, it's debatable. Everybody's got their favorites, but I think it's pretty much a fact that he's the greatest men's physique competitor that's ever lived. I mean, he's got tons of Olympia titles. He's won every show there is to compete in. I mean, what a freaking legend to have him as your coach and to get the pro card. But I think that he gave you the hard honest truth. You want to work your butt off, you can do it, and you did it. And I think that's fantastic. So and Pittsburgh, like you said, I mean, I've covered plenty of Masters Nationals, and like you said, a lot of times you're competing with guys in the open that are 30 years your junior, but I think the age it benefits you because I think your maturity is way above theirs. Nothing against the young competitors, but it is, you've lived life more. The muscle maturity is there, undeniable. The older competitors got that. I'm curious though, how would you describe the camaraderie between the Masters level competitors in men's physique? Because the younger guys, not so much now, but some years ago there was some some issues, some butting head. What's the camaraderie like for you guys backstage?
Well, it's great. Backstage, we're like, brothers. It's everyone's kind of cool meeting. I mean, to be dreadfully honest, everyone's cool, but you have that period where everyone's kind of checking everyone else out and, sizing everyone up. But then as soon as you get to talking to people, everyone's cool about it, but you're going to have that competition, that little, I want to be number one with every age. I mean, it was evident here. We stood in line together. Everyone was cool. But as soon as you go on stage, it's business. Absolutely. We're taking care of business. So the competitiveness is still the same. And this is the thing. And I've competed against a lot of Olympians in the open. I've competed at 20 of them, and they're all very, very gracious backstage. It's yeah, you got your game face on. Yeah, when it's 2 minutes before we're about to hit the stage, things get very serious. But after, everything's cool for the most part. You don't have the guy that's just completely upset. There's a few, but that aren't, completely upset. But, with the Masters, we're just happy to be here.
Right. No, and for sure. And I want to thank Kevin Harris, IFBB Pro, for being here. And he's got an amazing physique.
Hey, Kevin's my bud. He
Definitely,
competed at Reno. Kevin won at Reno. So
he's got a killer physique, very sharp physique. And, he says that you guys are a tight knit group, which is cool, because a lot of times the stuff on social media, I think with some competitors is for social media. You know what I mean? Like, King George Brown, a good buddy of mine, some years ago, he crashed the press conference. That was all staged. It was just for entertainment, Deep down, I think you guys are a tight knit group. And Kim Fit-Ass Haynes says the work ethic is key, and it is, because again, I mean, I think every division's hard. I think men's physique is particularly hard because you don't have as many poses as bodybuilding or classic physique. You have a lot less time on stage. If your posing isn't like spot on, you're gonna just like disappear. So it's very tough.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, is that being in the Masters division, we've had life hit us multiple times, and we've gotten back up and we've kept driving forward. A lot of younger guys, they haven't really had life hit them yet. And
That's true.
Nothing wrong with that. Not wrong with that, but it's just to be able to keep driving and at our age be able to sustain a high level like this it's a very challenging thing. 100%.
Absolutely. And I think also that first time where you cut your teeth in Pittsburgh, I think that's important, after winning back-to-back times on the West Coast, coming to Pittsburgh, maybe not really assessing the situation. I mean, it's their first time, but I think that's good. Like last night, Michael Graves was on here, and he took second place in Pittsburgh in bodybuilding at the Masters level. He missed his card by one spot.
Yeah.
A lot of people, if all they're ever accustomed to doing is winning, once they, taste defeat, they may never come back again. I think it builds a lot of character to have to, whether it's seventh place, which I think is an amazing placing, or second place, which is probably, if it was me, I'd rather get seventh place, because second place is like, what the hell do you do to win? I mean, you just.
Yeah, that's right. I've had those too. I went to Masters and got third, got second, and got fourth.
Oh, those are terrible.
So, but the important thing is I kept knocking on the door.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
and I think that's ultimately really, I think that goes back to Kim's comment too. It's all about the work ethic. You just keep knocking on the door. You keep coming back. Tell me a little bit about, and I promise only this question and a couple more.
No worries.
Okay. What's your take on judges' feedback? Because I feel like, even the person that wins the show could still stand to get some judges' feedback. Do you oftentimes contact the judges or not?
Well, I mean, we have a blessing out here with Muscle Contest is Tariq comes and he meets us backstage and just kind of like gives us the truth. And I don't know how many times. Last time I competed at Muscle Contest, he flat out said, "Mr. Simpson, you got to work your abs." And it was funny because it was the same thing my wife had been bugging me about, and it wasn't that I was neglecting them, but that was a focus of mine for the last couple of years. And I think it's good if you're good at taking it. Okay, there's a lot of competitors that aren't good at taking that critique, because they don't see it. But if you're a good, solid competitor, when you look at yourself, you're not looking for the good, you're looking for the bad. Okay, that's the only way you can improve upon it. Everything is to look for the things that are wrong or not, are kind of out of balance. And when you get someone and he's flat up, you got a great physique, but you got to work your abs. If you don't take that serious, you're in the wrong business, because all of this is a subjective sport, and they're the judges. And if they're telling you something and you're kind of like, whatever, how do you expect to get past that? I mean, what are you going to just go compete at another promotion? I don't know. I take it for everything that it's worth, 100%.
Yeah, and there's so many factors too. I mean, even aside from the physique itself, I mean, like if you use the wrong tan, if you wore the wrong shorts, the lighting and how you look in the lighting. I mean, just so many factors. What time
Yeah.
you come in for check-ins? Do you wait to the last minute, or you come the very first minute you possibly can? Just go to the room and chill. I mean, it all there's so many factors. I mean, I really think it's kind of mind-boggling, actually.
Yeah. I try when I go to be as gracious and happy to be there. I'm not the late dude. I'm always first one there. I'm always, trying to talk and communicate to as many people as possible. I don't want to be the problem child, but that probably has a lot to do with my age. I'm not showing ego. I'm just happy to be here, man. The fact that I get to compete against Olympians is, for me, a blessing and an honor. To share the stage with some of the top guys in the world is not something that most people my age can actually even talk about. And so I take it as a win right there. If I'm on
Absolutely,
stage and I'm next to an Olympian and there's no drop off, I won. That's the
definitely.
way I look at it.
That's a great way to look at it. Yeah, absolutely. And so with regards to like the Legion and Blackstone Labs, like how did you cross paths with PJ, the Legion, the company? Like how did that all happen?
Well, I had been taking Blackstone for a while. I had done a lot of research on them, and I was actually with another company, but I was taking Blackstone Labs. And uh, I had noticed about the Legion thing, so I just contacted them, and it ended up working out. I'm so proud to be part of the company because I'm not a big supplement guy. I don't, when I'm a coach, I'm a trainer, I have my own gym. I don't, like, when I sit down with the athletes and stuff, I'm not the guy that says, "Oh, you need to take this, 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 and this." I work on nutrition first. I work on training first, mindset, all those good things, and then we start to bring the other things in. So, um, in researching, in looking into different companies, I just found that I really liked everything it represented. I liked the research that was put into all the different products. I start my morning every day with the multi, eradicate, and gear support every day. And then for pre-workout, I do the dust, hype, creatine, and glutamine. So those are everyday things. So I
That's
did,
awesome.
yeah. It's just been one of those things that because I'm bad because I don't want to be a salesman. I tried to be as genuine with people as possible in terms of showing the product. So I'll introduce them to it. I give them a taste of it or whatever, but I never try to sell them, and everyone likes it.
I think
All the
that's
people.
yeah, I think that's the way to go. The soft sell and just the being genuine, not forcing it down people's throats, that sort of thing. And they see your physique, they see the progression in your physique. You do all these like. Tell me a little bit about this fit over 50 thing because I saw the graphic. I thought it was pretty epic and like I really like that. On Facebook, I'm a member. I'm 42, but I'm a member of a
Right on.
lot of groups that are 40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus because bodybuilding is like unlike any other sport, like I feel like when you get older, you kind of have a certain edge. I mean, mentally,
Yeah.
yes, but also the muscle maturity, the muscle memory. If you've picked up a weight throughout your life and then you take a 10, 15-year break and then pick them up again, you might actually build a better physique than somebody that's 30 years younger. So like tell me a little bit about these projects that you do because I really like that. I want to see more people of our age involved in sport.
Yeah. Well, the fit over 50, that was a trip, the calendar and everything. I just started liking their stuff and I kept tagging them. And literally out of nowhere, I get this message saying, "Hey, we're putting together a calendar. We were wondering if you want to be part of it." And I was like, "That's cool."
Yeah.
So I was all down for doing it. I wish there was more um, to, an active level of that type of thing, because I'm not, I don't think older people get the respect that they should get when they bust their butt. They've lived life and they're still living good. You know, life's hit them, knocked them down, but they get back up. And the guys that are, and women that are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s even, that are still walking away looking fit and healthy, um, it, that's an accomplishment. And I think it's an accomplishment that a lot of people just kind of like take it, whatever, you know, because if you look around, most people my age, your age, don't look like this. So
I want to look like you, man. Totally. I'm like definitely.
I didn't mean
yeah.
it like that.
You have a very, very also unique physique for men's physique. I know it sounds redundant, but you have a quite a bit of density in your muscle. I mean, there's all sorts of different looks in men's physique, and there's kind of like that beach soft kind of look. You've got to actually, your upper body is like pretty imposing actually.
Yeah.
So I mean that's definitely, I think diet, subs, and working out, but that's quite impressive, I think. And I think you probably psychologically you probably like intimidate some people when you get on stage with them. You know, sure, you're the nicest guy, but your physique is like pretty dense for men's physique, I think.
Well, I appreciate that. That probably has a lot to do with being in the gym since I was 17 and being the gym rat for, 40 years. I'm giving my age away. 40 years.
Right.
For me, it was always just, I loved the pump. I did a whole stint in Hollywood for years, playing in bands, rock and roll bands and heavy metal bands and whatnot. And
nice.
I still went to the gym. I still did that all the time. So as I got older and found competitions and stuff, it just gave my gym more meaning, my workouts more meaning. And now I feel like, being the older guy, especially in my area, because I've got a lot of young athletes, a lot of young guys that really work hard and they want to learn. And I kind of pulled the dad figure with them. But at the same time, I'm working out with them and I'm trying to keep up. And,
Definitely.
it's very challenging, but I think it pays dividends in terms of the way I look. Because I'm still trying to push it as hard as possible.
Yeah, you look awesome. You look awesome. I can't believe Kim Fit Ass Haynes is 52. That's insane. But I got to be honest with you, like, even in rock music, even in rock music, I mean, there have been guys lifting forever, like Henry Rollins. I don't know if you're familiar with Black Flag.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's always been lifting. He doesn't smoke, doesn't do drugs, nothing. And like sometimes, like these like these folks from the audience come out, like, someone's gonna hurt the band members. This guy like throws him, like he's like super strong. Phil Anselmo from Pantera, he's also been lifting. He's not as jacked as Henry Rollins, but like lifting is like actually it's a lot bigger. People just didn't really talk about it too much. I don't know if you know Doyle from the Misfits. He's also jacked, like he's a vegan on top of that. So I mean, it's pretty crazy. But I think that the father figure is cool because even though you're probably chopping at the bits just as well as they are, but you can maybe prevent them from some of the more like silly training in the gym, the attention seeking, the stuff that's going to get them injured really, really fast. And at the end of the day, who cares what people at the gym think in terms of like being impressed? That's not going to do anything for you on stage. Like they don't award the strongest bodybuilder award. That doesn't exist. So
no. Well, one of the first things I tell the guys is they got to leave the ego at the door. I focus a lot on technique, form. My own personal training and how I do my coaching kind of went to a whole nother level when I started like looking at lifting in a very geometric way. So point A, point B, the pivot points and all that. When I started bringing that into lifting, it was kind of like a light bulb went off because the slightest change in hand position or angle or whatever is going to hit a different area. And especially with men's physique and bodybuilding, it's all about sculpting. So we're looking for specific areas that we're trying to hit. We're looking for shaping the body and molding the body and sculpting it. So you can't do that if you're not hitting areas like that, if you're not really isolating and having that mind muscle connection. Most young guys are like sitting there and they lift, but they don't really know what they're lifting or what muscles they're supposed to be using. So they're incorporating all the supporting muscles into a lift. They're lifting it, but they're not achieving what they think they're trying to achieve. So
that's so
fun.
true. Yeah, that is so true. And sometimes I think people also are guided almost like blindly by those little pictures that they post on the machines. And I mean those are intended for your mainstream, your
Yeah,
what do they call that, your lifestyle type people. Like,
yeah.
they're not for competitive physique based athletes. And so I think what you're saying is amazing. And I think, like, yeah, I think you could save a lot of the younger people a lot of time, and probably prevent them from injuring themselves. And I think, yeah, like, and also some of them are like in the gym for like 2 hours, 3 hours, like they don't, I don't want to say they don't know what they're doing, but they may not know what they're doing. So I
Yeah,
mean,
well, good portion of them. Well, they're learning. I didn't know what I was doing for the first 15 years.
yeah. Oh wow, that's crazy.
You
Well,
know,
that's a great admission then.
this was before the internet. I mean, we had
Yeah,
Muscle and Fitness. That was it. So
yeah,
you're looking to get advice from the gym dude,
right.
and as you don't always get the best advice.
And some of
So
those magazines, I love the magazines. I'm a dinosaur. I try to buy MD whenever I can. But some of those magazines, like, they used to put the most ridiculous diets on there. Like, these guys were like 300 pounds, and they were like eating 4 ounces of fish each meal, which is absolute nonsense. But it's good reading. You know what I mean? But, like,
you
so
can't take it. You can't take it verbatim because we're all biologically different. So it's just like going through, like you were saying about the little diagrams on the machine. What may work, a certain angle may work for me, but in order for that another person to hit that same body part, their angle has to be slightly different. If you don't know to look for that, they're not telling you on the machine. If you don't know to look for it, you're never going to find it.
right.
You know.
No,
So
100%, 100%. And even throwing it real old school, those meat composition notebooks. I mean, those things, like, knowing your body too is key. I mean, and that goes with what you're saying too, and writing everything down. And I think that's old school. But anyways, I know I told you, I'm such a liar. I know I told you like 10 to 15 minutes. I'm sure we've gone over half an hour, if not pretty close. But I just think you have so much knowledge, and you're doing so many things. I never would have known that you were 58, and I'm sure
yeah,
most people don't unless you tell them. And it's just like, I really truly believe that fitness really is the fountain of youth. I really truly believe it reverses age, especially with women. I mean, at Masters Nationals, I've seen women. I saw a lady, actually Kentucky Muscle here in Louisville. She was 68, and I didn't believe
wow,
her. And she
wow,
showed me her driver's license. I swear to you, Rob, she looked like she was like 45 at
wow,
most.
wow.
It wasn't lighting, it wasn't makeup, it wasn't Botox, it wasn't any of that. She
Yeah,
legit looked like she was like barely 45,
yeah,
and she was
wow,
almost 70.
yeah.
So I don't know what to say, but I want to thank you. And the last thing I want to ask you is, what are your goals, like for the next, I don't know, the next year, 5 years, 10 years? What is it that you want to accomplish with the Legion, with your pro card, just in fitness in general?
Well, fitness in general, this year my focus is building my team Ironbred, my competition team. I haven't really focused on it. I've had athletes just come to me, so this year I'm actually trying to really push it and build that team, because I know that at some point I'm going to be transitioning into the more coaching. Uh, with the Legions, I'd like to be more involved in the sense of uh, being more of a spokesman for the older demographic. But you know, and just fitness in general, just have it a part of my life. I mean, I own a gym, so it's what I do for a living. So it's kind of hard not to um, live the lifestyle. I don't want to be that out of shape trainer.
No,
That's
definitely,
horrible.
definitely. So, I mean, the knowledge is here, but you want to look good. You want to, like, I mean, you're a
Yeah.
pro, but you want to look good. So I totally understand. What's the name of your gym, and where is it?
Iron House Training Facility. I'm located in Palmdale, which is about half hour outside of Los Angeles.
Nice.
My team and I do coaching through, obviously, Rob Simpson, IFBB Pro, or Team Ironbred. Both profiles are on Instagram, and I love doing that. It's a passion of mine, and I'm really looking forward to really pushing it to another level. I've worked with some of the top coaches out there, so I've kind of incorporated little bits of everything, and then my own madness. So we'll see how.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I can
So,
tell that you love it. I want to thank you for doing this interview. I want to apologize to you and everybody on the West Coast because of the Eastern Standard Time that we just think is like everybody runs on Eastern Time. But thank you so very much.
hey,
And
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me. I
yeah,
mean, I'm humble and gracious on the fact that you gave an old guy a minute.
no, absolutely, absolutely. I think again, you're going to do big, big things. And Jared, Jared from Blackstone Labs, him and I work together. He gives me, you know, a list of the heaviest hitters in the Legion, and your name was like the very top. And I'm just so happy, and I'm happy that you want to get even more involved. And I really, really, truly think that older people, by age, you know, because you're in my book, you're 21. I mean, like, and you're going to go forever. But I do think though that the fitness industry, not really Blackstone Labs, but more so the general fitness industry, is more marketed towards, like, you know, 20-year-olds. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like anybody that's been to Masters Nationals or Master shows around the country, as you correctly pointed out, it's cutting edge competition. These are people that, you know, will not take no for an answer. They will do whatever it takes to go pro and to achieve greatness, as you have. So it's a very, very important for that group to be represented. So
Yeah, but the demographic with the most amount of money is your 40 and 50-year-olds. That's the demographic you want.
Absolutely, yeah. The college kids are broke. I mean, so it's like I never quite got that, but Joe, absolutely. So I do want to thank you one more time, and also again for being such a trooper and doing this in your car, because we thought it was 6 p.m. Pacific and it was Eastern, and you could have totally canceled or postponed it, but you didn't. You did the interview and you kicked ass, and I really, really appreciate it. So
yeah, I'm glad you had me. Thank you.
Absolutely. For
Right.
IFBB Pro, Rob Simpson, Christian Duke, StrengthAddicts.com. Thanks again, Rob.
Take care.
You too.